is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever.
That is how Disco Elysium begins. It doesn't start with a quest or a call to adventure. It starts with a seduction, your own brain making you an offer to not wake up. Because waking up means you have to exist. It means the headache returns, the bills return, the memories of the person you lost return. The crushing reality of who you have become is waiting for you just outside your eyelids. But here, in the dark, you are formless. You are safe. You are a grain of malt in a sea of nothing. If I'm being honest, I don't even know if I'd call this just a game. It's not a story about a hero saving the day. It's a simulation of total collapse. It captures that specific, heavy atmosphere of a person who has finally buckled under the weight of their own history. And it doesn't try to hide the ugly parts of the human condition. Instead, it forces you to sit in a life that has gone completely off the rails. And then it asks you to navigate that wreckage without a map. The main character has drunk himself to an amnesia so profound that he has forgotten his own name. He has forgotten that he is a police officer. He has forgotten what year it is. Now, to a gamer, amnesia is just a game mechanic, a smart way to reset the stats. But to someone who just lay there, in the dark, watching the minutes on their phone tick closer to a morning they aren't ready for, they know it's something else. It's not a restart. It's a hiding spot. Do you know that feeling? When you're at rock bottom but it feels safe? It's quiet down there. You don't have to try. You don't have to disappoint anyone because they already expect the worst from you. So why do we stay there? Why does the bottom feel so comfortable? Because as adults, we like to think we're rational. We tell ourselves, if I'm hurting, obviously I want it to stop. That's just logic. But pain is tricky. It's heavy, yeah, but it's also solid. It grounds you. If you're the screw up or the loser, at least you know who you are. That's an identity. You can touch it. It's yours. That's why we listen to the voices that tell us to stay down. Because the alternative, a real solution, is actually terrifying. It requires you to change. It means unmaking the person you are right now, piece by piece, to make room for who you need to become. So, we don't look for answers. We look for permission. We look for reasons to stay exactly where we are, but feel a little less guilty about it. And to understand this, we have to look at where the game takes place. The city of Revachol is a ruin. It was once the capital of the world, and now it's just a humiliated, occupied zone under military control. And it's not just destroyed, it's stuck. The walls are still pockmarked with bullet holes from a war that ended decades ago. And the statues are still broken, but no one has cleared the rubble. It is a city that is obsessed with its past because its present is too painful to look at. It refuses to rebuild. It chooses to rot in the crater of its own history, rather than face the uncertainty of a future. And the man we play as is exactly the same. The thing about Harry Dubois is he's not just a drunk, he's an architect. He has built this incredible, complex fortress of noise inside his head, so he never has to hear the silence. When I first played this, I kept laughing at his skills. You know, electrochemistry telling him to get wasted, or drama compelling him to lie. I thought, wow, look at this mess of a human being. But then it hit me. I have those voices too. I don't have a skill tree, but I do have the excuses. The brilliance of this system is that you are not in control. You, the player, are just a moderator. You're trying to fight these screaming voices just to make a choice. Now, does that sound familiar? Because that is exactly what it feels like to be a person. If you don't have one single self, we are a committee of conflicting desires. One part of you wants to get fit and healthy, while another part of you wants to eat pizza and rot on the couch. One part of you wants to find love, and another part of you is so terrified of intimacy that it sabotages every date you go on. In the game, you can listen to the wrong voice. You can let electrochemistry drive the car, and the game will let you. It won't stop you. It will let you drink yourself to death. It will let you alienate everyone who cares about you. And it feels good to do it. That's the scary part. Giving in to the impulse feels like relief. When you're in the familiar hell, the voice telling you to stay there is the loudest one in the room. It tells you that trying is pointless. It tells you that hope is a trap. And because Harry is so broken, he believes it. He believes that his suffering makes him special. And if Harry is the chaos of our worst impulses, then we need a control group. We need a mirror. This is where we meet Kim Kitsuragi. Kim is Harry's partner. He's everything Harry is not. He is professional and disciplined and patient. The tragedy of the familiar hell is that it doesn't just hurt you, it warps your perception of everyone else. Harry expects judgment. He expects Kim to hate him, to mock him, because that's what Harry would do to himself. But Kim doesn't. He waits. He watches. And when Harry falls down, Kim doesn't kick him. He just says, "Get up, detective. We have work to do." This dynamic is crucial. Kim represents reality. He represents the objective world that is trying to pull you out of your nightmare. And sometimes, we hate reality. When you are deep in depression or deep in grief, cheerful people are annoying. Productive people are irritating. You look at someone like Kim, who has his life together, and you don't feel inspired. You feel exposed. His mere existence makes Harry look worse. There are moments in the game where you can lash out at Kim. You can be racist. You can be cruel. You can mock him. And if you do that, it's the darkest thing you can do. Not because of the game mechanics, but because you are destroying the only lifeline you have just to protect your own ego. We do this in real life. We push away the people who try to help us because their help implies that we need help. And admitting we need help means admitting that our current strategy, familiar hell, isn't working. But eventually, there comes a moment where the comfort runs out. For Harry, it's the phone call. You find a payphone, and you have a choice. You can dial a random number, or you can dial the number you know by heart, the number of the woman who left you, the woman whose memories made him destroy his own brain to escape. This scene is devastating. It is a masterpiece of writing because of how pathetic it is. Harry isn't calling to catch up, and he certainly isn't calling to apologize. He is calling to be saved. He wants her to say something, anything that will make the last 6 years of his life not have happened. He wants her to give him permission to be okay again. But she can't do it. She's just a person. She has moved on. She is living in the real world, while Harry is still living in the ghost of the past. And this is the hard truth the game slams onto the table. No one is coming to save you. There is no magical sentence that someone can say that will fix your life. There is no job offer, no lottery win, no romantic partner that will pull you out of the pit. If you are waiting for external permission to leave your hell, you will never escape it. It hurts to see because we know the trap. We have all stopped our lives waiting for something external to fix the internal, waiting for a sign, for justice, for an apology, or for the closure we think we need to move forward. But closure isn't something you find. It is something you forge. Closure is never given. It is only ever created. Harry hangs up the phone, and he is exactly where he was before. Cold, drunk, alone. Familiar hell has stopped being comfortable. Now, it's just hell. So is that it? Is the message of the game just life sucks and then you die? Of course not. If that was the message, I would not be making this video. Despite the relentless misery of its world, Disco Elysium is secretly one of the most hopeful pieces of media ever made. It just doesn't offer a cheap or easy comfort. It is a gritty, bloody, desperate kind of hope. There's this one moment near the end, I won't spoil the details, I've spoiled so much already, where Harry sees something impossible, a literal miracle, and obviously his first thought is, okay, this is it, I finally lost my mind. He thinks he's hallucinating again, but then volition steps in. You have to understand, volition is usually the buzzkill. It's the nagging voice of sanity telling him to get his act together. It's the only part of his brain that consistently knows the difference between reality and a bender. And it whispers, I can see it too. And that moment changes everything. Because of volition sees it. It's real. It means Harry isn't just projecting his own misery onto the world anymore. It proves that the world is capable of producing beauty completely independent of him. And for the first time, the universe isn't just a mirror of his own sadness. It's a real, breathing place that still has magic in it. The noise in his head finally goes quiet. Not because he won some battle, but because he finally looked outside himself. Getting out of familiar hell doesn't mean you suddenly become happy. It doesn't mean you fix everything. Harry is still an alcoholic. He still has a ruined career, and the woman is still gone. But he decides to try, and trying is the antidote to the void. The game lets you build a new identity, not the saddest cop, not the superstar, but just a detective, a person doing a job. He stops asking for permission to rot and he starts giving himself permission to work. Look, you can carry the last 10 years around like a brick if you want. But that's a choice, not a life sentence. The version of you that screwed up is in the past. The version of you, sitting here right now, you haven't done anything yet. You're clean. You can literally do anything you want in the next 10 seconds. And you can choose not to repeat the past. You cannot change the last 10 years, but you can change the next 10 seconds. I think the reason this game hits so hard is because it respects our damage. It never tells us to just get over it. It admits that life is heavy. It admits that we carry ghosts. It acknowledges that sometimes the most seductive thing in the world is to just lie down in the snow and sleep. But then it extends a hand. It's Kim's hand pulling you up. It's foolish and steady grip keeping you standing. It's the game reminding you that you don't have to stay down. Leaving the familiar hell is terrifying. It means walking out into the cold without a coat. It means admitting that you wasted time. It means facing the judgment of the people you had. But the alternative is the void. The alternative is the reptile brain telling you to never wake up. I'm not saying I'm fully fixed, and I'm definitely not here to preach to you or to tell you to clean your room. But playing this story, seeing Harry Dubois try to drag himself out of the dark, it made me look at my own permission slips. It made me ask, am I hurting because I have to? Or am I hurting because it's the only way I know how to be? It's okay if you're not ready to answer that yet. I wasn't ready for a long time either. But it's worth thinking about. You don't need to fix everything today. But you also don't need to punish yourself for all the time you spent in the dark. That time is gone. But that time wasn't wasted. It was the price you paid to get here, to this moment, where you can finally see the light again. That time is gone. Let the guilt go with it. This has been my third-person perspective on Disco Elysium. I'm starting this channel because I think there's a deeper conversation waiting here. We can always appreciate the technology and the spectacle. That art is incredible. But I want to explore what lies underneath. I want to talk about what these experiences actually do to us, and what they can teach us about being human. And if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, hit the subscribe button. And do me a favor in the comments, tell me about a game that helped you through a familiar hell. I want to hear the stories. Take care of yourselves. And remember, sunrise, parabellum.